My faucet in the kitchen started leaking the day before, so I knew I needed to do a repair on it. So I did that yesterday. I replaced what's called the cartridge. That's what this looks like here, and I'll go through how to replace that and how it works. But then I found it was still leaking, and I had a bigger problem. It was with the connection here between the body of the faucet and the spout, and there was a leak in here that I could not repair. The spout, if that happens to you, it's not a repairable job. You need to buy a whole new faucet, which is what I did. So I wound up with a new cartridge, which I'll keep for future use, and a whole new faucet. This is my old faucet. I've already taken it out. But I thought this is a great opportunity just to do a video to show people what's going on. This is for all my videos. I do these for people that are really new to any sort of repair. So I'm going to talk about some things that a lot of you experienced DIYers are familiar with. So just skip over those bits, and they're not intended for you. But if you'd like to watch, please do. Just talk about faucets in general. So faucets are typically either 2-hole or 1-hole. 2-hole, and you'll see, and I'm mentioning that because when you go onto the repair sites, or go to the big box stores to buy a faucet, if you don't know what 1 or 2-hole is, you might not even recognize what your sink is, quite honestly. So have a good look at the sink. If you've got a handle on the left and right, one that controls the hot and cold water, that's a 2-handle system. A 1-handle or 1-hole system would have the single lever in the middle that controls the flow and the water mixing, the hot and cold water mixing. Okay, so this is a 2-hole cartridge system, and most I think probably all sinks now and faucets use cartridges. Older homes will use stems or other even older ways of transport of producing the water. A stem is like the old ball, the ball type spinner, mainly found on bathroom sinks, not on kitchen sinks, but it spins, and the stem rises up and down with the spinning and lets the water in and out. This cartridge doesn't work like that. This cartridge spins. So when you turn the handle on the faucet, it spins this, and I'll zoom in a little bit. Let me pull the cartridge out. Actually, you pull I'll pull the cartridge out all the way, and you can see right there. There's a hole on the inside, and that matches up with this hole on the outside. When you spin this bit on the top with the handle, that moves the position of the hole so that it's covered up, or it's fully open, or it's partially open, and that's what controls the water flow. So the cartridge breaks not easily. I mean, it depends on the cartridge and how much you use it, but this one has been in here for at least 10 years because I installed this faucet 10 years ago. So I would think many years of use on a cartridge. Okay, so this is the most common type of kitchen faucet. You might, if your bathroom has a round ball, it's a different type of fitting on the inside, but the idea is the same. And if it's a single spout, the idea of what I'm talking about is the same, but the details at the final end are going to be a little different. Maybe check out a different video. So I wound up installing a new cartridge to start with. Let me talk about that. Then I'll talk about installing the whole unit. If you just need to do the cartridge, you can stop the video then and be on your way. So the way this works is you've got in this case hot water supply coming up into the cartridge, as I mentioned, and then you spin the valve. If you do notice the leak, you don't need to do anything except pull this handle off. So how do you pull the handle off? Well, you notice there's a little round hole there with a little, it's called a set screw on the inside. You have to find a little Allen wrench, whatever fits your set screw, and then open up that screw. The handle will pop right off, and I'll just do it here. It will pop off and reveal underneath the cartridge. You can't pull the cartridge out. It's got a small threaded compression fitting, so just use a wrench. Pull that off, okay, or unbolt it, and then the cartridge will just pop right out. Put the new cartridge in and basically reverse the steps. I'll point out one thing. If you look in close, I'll see if I can zoom in. So you just see right in the middle of my screen here, there's a little plastic tab. The manufacturers have smartly done this to line up with a tab. See the tab on the inside of the the threaded stem. See that little tab right there? The plastic tab on the cartridge lines up with the tab, so you can only put the cartridge in one way. So that's really good to know. And then reinstall the compression fitting, reinstall the handle with the set screw, and that is all you have to do. It's like super duper easy. In my case, I found the water was leaking out of the spout, and the spout is unfortunately not repairable. I needed to buy a whole new faucet. I'll talk about the spout a little bit. Here's what the bottom looks like. This round part at the bottom spins, and I think this broke because over time, this spins loose, so the stem was or spout was kind of wobbly on the faucet, and then when people use it, it gets banged around, and unfortunately, there's a plastic nut on the inside of this instead of a metal nut, so the manufacturer saved a couple of bucks by, unfortunately, putting one of the most used and failable parts on the whole thing. They made it out of plastic, so the plastic broke because this thing just banged around a lot. So in future, if you want to do a little preventive maintenance on your sink, just keep this. It's called the bonnet. Just keep the bonnet nice and tight. Don't overdo it because you could break the plastic nuts. Okay, you don't want to do that. So just keep it firm and keep your stem from wobbling around. So I looked for replacement parts on this. Can't find them. I called Moen. This is a Moen Danica model, and they said no, you need to buy the whole new faucet. So I wound up doing that. So to do that, if you're replacing the whole faucet, actually really super simple. So the way it works is because this is a 2-hole system, I've got a hot water line coming in and a cold water line. In a 1-hole system, you'll have 2 lines coming in, but into one fitting on the unit, and the mixing will occur based on the handle. I'm not going to get into that because I don't have one. So what happens is you got this threaded hose coming up, and it's got a stainless steel, not stainless steel, just metal net on the top, and it screws onto the bottom of the stem here. And because this is awkward to get out, because you imagine this is in the back of your sink, and then you've got a basin in front here, and it's deep and it's long. So you got to try and get your hand up to try and wind the nut off. It's super hard because it was probably put on tight because you got a lot of water flowing through there at high pressure. So it's almost impossible to get off by hand. You could probably mangle it out of there, manhandle it out of there. But what I suggest is you either buy or borrow what's called a sink wrench, okay? And the sink wrench has a claw on the top. The claw opens up just manually, and you just slide this over the nut. And then you can use, and because it's long, it slides up behind the sink basin. It's super helpful. What happens is when you're unthreading the nut, the claw should be positioned clockwise, in the clockwise direction. And then when you spin this to the left, lefty loosey, right, righty tighty, lefty loosey. When you spin this to the left to open up the nut, the claw will be engaged, if you want to say. But then when you turn it back, the claw loosens back up. So it's kind of like a ratcheting driver, right? So just crank the nut open, and then you can reach up and do it by hand. When you get to the end of the nut, when the hose is about to come off the fitting, I would take a towel, because there's a lot of water still in the hose and then up in the assembly. Take a towel and just wrap it up there, and then just use your hand to get it out, and that'll save you water dripping into your sink cabinet, and probably onto your face, actually, if you're like me. So undo the braided hose. This will be screwed on all the way up to the top of the under part of the sink. Just screw this whole nut off. Do it on, and repeat that for the cold water. Then this whole unit just slides right off, and you can do the replacement easier at that point than what I did with the cartridge. You just take the new fitting, take the old fitting out, put the new faucet in, reattach the plastic attachment nuts, reattach the braid, and I use a little bit of tape. get the plastic tape just to wrap around the edge to provide an extra barrier against water leaking out. Because this is, there's a lot of water under pressure all the time under your sink. You don't want that to leak. I think that is about it. I think that gave a pretty decent overview of just how a faucet works, and the cartridge and the faucet replacement. And I think I'm good to go. I'm happy with this video. Okay, so good luck with this, everybody.